Hello, everyone, and welcome to Casada Conversations, Episode 3 with the Casada President and Executive Director. I'm Sam Atkinson, the 2020-21 Casada President and Associate Athletic Director for Communications at Gallaudet University. I'm here live in Ellicott City outside of Washington, D.C., and I'm joined by Casada Executive Director Doug Vance in Tucson, Arizona. Doug, how's it going?
Going okay, Sam. In the month of December is my favorite month, and hopefully the holidays will bring a little bit of cheer to our lives. I'm hopeful of that, at least.
I agree, and I definitely always look forward to the holiday season. Definitely different this year, of course, but definitely hope everybody in our membership and organization is safe and healthy during this holiday. A reminder to our audience, what is Casada Conversations? This is a monthly conversation between the Casada President and Executive Director to discuss all things Casada, the profession, and our members. We want to make sure everyone knows what the organization is doing and discussing and what items, projects, or initiatives we are working on. On this episode, Doug and I will provide Casada news updates as we have a chance to elaborate on some recent announcements, plus plug several Casada items at the end of the show. We will be joined today by several guests, including Casada's Second Vice President, Jessica Poole from Chicago State University, and Casada Third Vice President, John Paquette from the Big East Conference. Plus, two Casada staff members join us in Associate Executive Director, Will Roleson, and Director of External Affairs and Professional Development, Barb Kowal. And most importantly, we want to hear from you, our members. Each episode, we will open up the mailbag and answer questions from our members, so don't forget to submit your questions online or DM us through Twitter at Sam Atkinson SID and at DVance Casada. So let's get started for the third episode. Doug, this has definitely been an unusual fall semester for collegiate athletics. Our members continue to adapt and change daily in this COVID world we are living in. It's championship weekend for FBS football programs, and basketball season is underway in different ways across all divisions. It's great to see some normalcy, but we still have a long way to go to get back to where we were before. Doug, what's your thoughts right now about how this fall semester has played out?
Well, the good news is that student athletes have had an opportunity to compete in some instances. It's been certainly an up and down situation on scheduling. It's forced a lot of people to adapt. It's not ideal, but this is all about student athletes and giving them the opportunity to have competition in their lives. And for that, I'm grateful. I don't know what's ahead, but obviously the best word that we're all dealing with is uncertainty. I can't think of a better word that describes what we're dealing with, but I'm just happy student athletes are having some opportunities to compete.
Agree. And it definitely seems like health and safety continue to be number one priority for everyone involved in higher education and collegiate athletics. And that's definitely important as we keep moving forward this academic year. But Doug, really the big news today that impacts our organization and membership, and NACDA just recently announced alongside with Casada that the 2021 conventions will be going virtual yet again. I know this news is disappointing for so many, but going back to health and safety for all involved, it is the right decision to be cautious and not lose sight of that. Doug, what's your initial thoughts on this news?
Well, I certainly agree with you. It's disappointing in many levels, but it is what we have. And like everything we've done during this pandemic, we'll make the best of it. And the good news is we're finding out early enough to invest a lot of time into planning it. Last year, we found out in early April, and knowing now will help us a great deal. And I think from NACDA's point of view, it wasn't not just because of the health and welfare, but it was about budgets. Schools have not budgeted for professional development, and the feeling was that we probably wouldn't see a lot of people attend under those circumstances. So it proves to be the right decision, as you say.
Coming up after this break, we will bring in Jessica Poole and John Paquette, the co-chairs of our Professional Development Committee, to discuss this news more in depth. We are now pleased to welcome in CoSIDA Second Vice President Jessica Poole from Chicago State University and CoSIDA Third Vice President John Paquette from the Big East Conference. They are also the co-chairs of our Professional Development Committee that handles continuing education and convention programming. Jessica and John are here to discuss more about this week's news about the CoSIDA convention being moved to a virtual setup in 2021. Welcome, Jess and John.
Hey guys, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
First, what's your just initial thoughts of the news of the convention going virtual for a second year in a row?
You know, I think it's disappointing because I think that we can all agree on this call that we enjoy getting together with our CoSIDA family and spending time with each other and professionally developing. I think that it's, you know, a convention that everyone looks forward to. So in that respect, I think it's sad. So, you know, this is the second straight year that we're going to miss our big CoSIDA family reunion. And I think that's tough. I do think that, you know, it's important that we err on the side of caution during this time. And I think this is really the best decision for all of us. However, it is disappointing to not be able to get together with everyone.
Yeah, it's disappointing. You know, I'm trying to figure out whether it's more disappointing for a second one or I figured this was going to happen this way. So, but it is a missed opportunity to get together with people. And I think we're all, a lot of us are dying to do that. But, you know, it's another challenge we have to face, and CoSIDA will do a good job with it.
How does this news happening in December help the Professional Development Committee in its planning efforts compared to last spring when we only had a few months once that decision was made?
You know, I think that first, just shout out to the group. They really like turned on a dime last year and were very prepared and really put together a great virtual convention with little to no time. I think this gives us a chance to plan a little bit better. It gives us a chance to reassess some of the landscape that, you know, the things and topics that we want to discuss. And so I think, you know, while we certainly have experience in doing this on the fly, I think anytime we can give our committee a little bit of time, it also helps us plan for what, you know, our year-round continuing ed will be as well. So I think it gives us time to really be intentional and strategic about our programming. And I think, quite honestly, that's the best thing to come out of this, is just a little bit of extra time.
You know, and I think too, I agree with Jess, and I mean, just from a practical standpoint, we're, quote, now more used to this kind of thing. And we're used to used to planning things virtually. And so, you know, we'll be that much more effective, I think, this year.
I think a lot of our members are curious how this year's convention going virtual may impact items like special awards and the CoSIDA Academic All-America Hall of Fame, plus having the 2020 CoSIDA Award honorees backlog. How do you think, some initial thoughts on how we might handle that with the 2021 virtual convention programming?
You know, I think obviously those are events that are cornerstones of our convention, and something that we certainly are looking into different ways to do this virtually and to make sure that all of our honorees are honored and get the recognition that they so deserve. Right now, I think it's a little, you know, we're still in the planning stages of, you know, what can we do, what makes the most sense. But members can rest assured that we will have some form of recognition for all of the special awards and the Hall of Fame and all of the things that we do. There will be a piece of that that will take place virtually, regardless, since they are important pieces of our convention and something that many of us look forward to every year.
The Academic All-America Hall of Fame is kind of my favorite thing about the convention. So, you know, it's getting to see people and really acknowledge some greatness from that student athletes have gone to in their lives. So we certainly want to do the best we can with dealing with the practical situation of having a lot of award winners. So it's a work in progress, but I think we'll come up with something appropriate.
I think for some fun and exciting news in regards to the convention going virtual is, what are some initial topics that the Professional Development Committee is hoping to have in your programming when we look at the summer?
You know, I think many of us, I think a lot of our programming will be based on kind of the situation that we're all living through. You know, how to pivot, what it looks like to move, you know, a fall season to a spring season. So I think a lot of the practical things that we're kind of dealing with right now, as we gain more experience and become experts in that, there'll be a lot of programming built on that. I think that we'll have quite a bit of, you know, mental health programming, how to kind of look ahead in this environment. And then also some programming that's dealing with those of us that are dealing with budget cuts and furloughing and, you know, quite frankly, losing your job. What do you do next? And so I think, you know, those are kind of some topics that are coming out of this environment that we're in, that I think that we'll see programming for, both at the virtual convention, then also throughout our continuing ed year-round series.
Yeah, you know, picking up on Jess, what you're saying about mental health, it seems like CoSIDA the last, you know, half dozen years or so has really made sure that we have some mental health discussion at the convention, which I think is great for everybody. And now we probably even could use it even more now. And talking about topics that we've been dealing with through COVID and or because of all the COVID challenges, I think we all hope next year we don't have to do that. Or, but certainly it needs to be discussed, and the practical items of budget and furloughs and job security.
Well, we look forward to what your committee has in store for us in a couple months. Again, thank you so much for your dedication to our organization, Jess and John, and what you've done with this committee and all you're doing with continuing education throughout this the academic year this year. We appreciate all that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We now welcome in two of our CoSIDA staff members who join us, and Associate Executive Director, Will Roleson, and Director of External Affairs and Professional Development, Barb Kowal. Welcome, Will and Barb.
Having us.
No problem. Going along the lines of what are the lessons learned from last year, I know last year you guys had to you know, pivot real quickly, didn't have a lot of time, and you guys did a fabulous job with what we were able to deliver. How about making this decision now gives you guys more leadway, and what also you guys learned from last year?
It can only help to know, you know, this far in advance. You know, last year we anticipated that it would happen. It didn't happen until April 10th. So we had right at 2 months to make that move. And again, we know how great a job the Professional Development Committee and others did. But now we've got a chance to not only look ahead 7 months or 6 months from now, but also look back to, you know, what did we learn? How well did we do last year? I think we got some very good feedback. And most of all, we learned it takes a lot of effort. It's obvious when you're in an in-person convention that there's so many details to work out, from hotels to meals, audiovisual, et cetera. But it feels like there's almost as much when you're in a virtual setting. How are you getting everyone's schedules coordinated once you know the sessions? How are you putting all those pieces together? So it looks very different. Still a lot of work to go in behind the scenes to put it all together.
We'll talk a little bit about our relationship with NACDA, how that figures into this decision and how it impacts planning going forward.
Sure. Again, as I think most of our members know, CoSIDA has a hybrid relationship with NACDA, but obviously when it comes to our convention, we're tied at the hip. You know, and when they looked at the decision had to be made, you know, we were involved in those discussions, and ultimately it was decided, hey, you know, we need to cancel and go virtual for the reasons I think we heard from Don and Jess a little earlier on today's program. But this discussion has been, you know, gone on for a while. This doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's not like we just found out yesterday and we're, you know, announcing this here in mid-December. You know, we've known as staff and the board for a little while now, trying to put everything together. So, you know, that relationship is strong, it continues to do well. I think everyone is aware that we extended the contract relationship with them to 2026, you know, earlier this summer. So we look forward to continuing that partnership, and most importantly, we look forward to hopefully as early as 2022 getting together and having what one of our members aptly named a few years ago a family reunion in person.
They say the devil's in the details. Obviously, in a convention, there's a multitude of details that have to be developed and worked out, and certainly in a virtual convention that expands itself. Talk about a little bit about that process, how we'll figure out those details, such as timing and format.
Well, certainly, the staff will work with board and with the programming committee, but, there's some decisions that need to be made, in the fairly near future. And, they go just to the heart of what it's going to look like. What are the dates? Will it be along the mid-June dates that we would have been in person in Orlando? What is the format? How many sessions can our members expect to be part of? And then, is there any, cost involved? Last year, we were free. Does that process maintain the same for next year? So certainly staff and board will be working on this diligently in the very near future, because that really will set the stage for what the programming committee is able to fill in terms of hours of programming, numbers of sessions. I know Barb and the programming committee might be looking at some breakout sessions to make it a little more, not one-on-one, but small group, because the one thing that you tend to miss in a virtual convention as opposed to live is the networking. You're not sitting around, grabbing a cup of coffee. You're not, leaning against the wall, just having a conversation. Sometimes those are better learning opportunities than you might find in sessions. So I can integrate some degree of networking to bring that family feel into a virtual setting.
Barb, we just heard from Jessica and John, the co-chairs of the Professional Development Committee, and you are the staff liaison with that committee and have vast experience with our convention programming over the years. Can you elaborate on some of the hurdles that we need to clear, or some answers that we still need in the coming months that might help this committee and your work with this?
Yes, thanks, Sam. A lot of great things have just been said in this conversation today. The one thing we are going to miss is the networking, the in-person connections. But I do want to say one thing. I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed, but the engagement, the support, and the investment by our members and our colleagues last year as we went to the virtual environment was really second to none. And so that's what we're going to build on. We're going to remember exactly what was successful in that virtual environment. We've got a lot of data. We've got a lot of analytics. We've got a lot of numbers and statistics that show us what was the on-demand pull. What did people really gravitate towards? We had a lot of offerings last year. We had almost 11,000 total attendance for our live sessions, nearly 2,000 on-demand views. So we knew we hit the important topics and issues. So right now we've got to figure out, how do we change direction? How do we do things a little differently this year? It's a new world. Jess mentioned some of the things that we're going to be talking about. The other thing is we want to make sure it's targeted programming, that the issues really resonate with a Division III member, with a Division I member, with an NAI member. So we are going to do things like breakouts, hopefully. We're going to do some more targeted programming. We're going to still do a lot of educational lounges. They might be outside the window of June, but we're certainly going to deliver those learning lab experiences for our members. And I do want to say that this year, I think we have a lot more people to pull from. We have a wonderful, wonderful professional development and education committee, but we also have different voices this year. We have the new divisional cabinets, and I think those folks are going to go a long way in helping us deliver and target on what topics we want to cover. And again, there's a lot of behind the scenes work. I feel like we're seasoned veterans on the Professional Development and Education Committee. However, we pulled off an unbelievable convention last year. Right now, we're still looking at what platform we're going to use. We're looking at what other organizations are doing for their virtual setups. We're trying to learn. And at the same time, there's national associations coming to us to learn from us. So we're all sharing information across the board.
I know you guys set the bar high last year, and we really look forward to what you guys have in store this coming year. So Barb and Will, thanks so much for joining us on CoSIDA Conversations to share more insight on this big news.
Our pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Well, Doug, our mailbag was light this week or this month, so we have no questions, but we do have a couple of CoSIDA plugs and promotional items that we want to share with everybody.
Yeah, that's right, Sam. The one thing I do want to mention to everybody that we do have a unique opportunity this year. We have received several donations. We're open to receive more to help people become members of CoSIDA who have had budget issues and are unable to join. So I would encourage anyone who wants to be a member of CoSIDA to apply for one of our membership dues scholarships. The deadline to apply is December the 31st, and if we get more donations, we'll extend that. You can go to CoSIDA.com and find the link to apply for one of these scholarships, and the CoSIDA officers will be making those decisions. Sam?
Yeah, Doug, and it's a season of giving as well. And if you'd like to contribute to that membership dues scholarship fund, you can go onto CoSIDA.com/donate. And we really appreciate all those who have already donated and those who can still donate. So we thank you for that. Along the same lines, this being the holiday season, if you are volunteering in your communities safely, please don't forget to fill out your CoSIDA volunteer hours. You can go to CoSIDA.com/volunteer15 to learn more about that program. And another program that just opened up recently is our Fred Stapley Senior Writing Contest. And opening up soon will be our Publications Digital Design Contest. For both of those, you can go to CoSIDA.com and /Stapley, and also CoSIDA.com/publications for more information on how to get involved and make your entries today. And lastly, our next episode in January will be focused on the Membership Recognition Week, which will be from January 20th to January 26th. So we look forward to talking more about that and recognizing our membership in that regards. Doug, that's one of my favorite weeks of the year that, as far as what CoSIDA does.
Well, it's a great week for us. It's an advocacy resource. We get a lot of good response from both internally and our external stakeholders. We got a lot of friends out there, and probably haven't had a year that it's more important to our membership that we reach out and make this a very special week again.
Doug, and this being our last episode of 2020 in this calendar year, what is something that you are going to remember about this past year, and what do you wish for next year?
Well, first of all, I'm glad it's 2020 is about over. Hadn't been a great year, and I guess I'll remember a lot of things about this year. I don't think there's been a year ever in our profession that has been impacted more, and not in a good way. But I will say this: the one thing that has impressed me throughout this time period since we heard about this in March is how our members have adapted, how they have picked up and said what's next. And some of them have done things beyond their normal job descriptions. But we are a resilient bunch of people. And I think I'm just very impressed and very proud to be a part of this profession. And I'll always remember how we responded to a difficult situation. In terms of next year, I hope our members will continue, and I think they will not have a whole lot of trouble dealing with the overlap of scheduling. It's going to be challenging, and I hope things calm down on the health front, and student athletes get an opportunity to compete without much interruption, and our members basically survive. It's going to be a tough year, definitely.
Yeah, you said it great there about 2020 and how our membership adapted with everything. I'm hopeful that maybe some of the ways that we've been able to do our work, so a lot of us doing our work remotely, maybe will help that work-life balance for many of our members in this profession in the future too. But definitely looking forward to 2020-21 in the new year, and definitely we see the light at the end of the tunnel. There's still some months to go, but we'll get there, and we know we will. But it's just been great to see our membership and organization rally around each other during these difficult times this past year.
Sam, I'm just looking forward to 2022 when our convention goes to Las Vegas in person. I can't imagine the hugs in the hallway that we'll all have seeing each other again finally.
Agree 100% there. So on behalf of the CoSIDA Executive Board of Directors and staff, we would like to wish everyone a happy holiday and safe and healthy holiday season and new year. And we look forward to chatting with you in January.